Hello friends, today I'd like to share this really neat book called The Reason for a Flower. We enjoy flowers for a lot of different reasons. We can even eat some of the flowers that grow in our gardens. But let's find out the really important reason for a flower as we read this special book by Ruth Heller. And what in the cover pages we see this picture. This one has become a plum. We see the flower go through different stages in its life cycle. Remember how we learned how plants grow from seed to flower to fruits containing seeds. Birds and bees. And these, look at all the butterflies and even a little mouse. And these sip nectar from the flowers. Look at moths and bats. And as they search for more and more pollen from the bee before goes up to the next one, they explore. Here we see these beautiful daffodils providing a good meal for our bee buddies. Some pollen travels in the breeze. We see that yellow trail blowing in the breeze without the help of birds or bees, and very often makes you sneeze. Achoo! The little mousekin enjoys those plants. Pollen grains must travel and stay a little while, and then you'll see the reason. From an anther on a stamen to a stigma on a style. For each flower, even weeds. Here we see a dandelion, and you know, dandelions are not really weeds. They're just sometimes a misplaced plant, but one of the most important plants for our bee buddies. The reason for a flower is to manufacture seeds. Seeds are what make life possible on Mother Earth. Seeds that have a cover of one kind or another. Some grow inside a juicy fruit, and it's not odd to find them growing in a pod. Remember, the pod is the fruit of the plant that contains the seeds. The largest one's a coconut. Look at all these amazing seeds. We have many of these growing out in our storybook garden. Some of them we can't grow here because it's not warm enough year-round, but other ones we can grow here that can't grow in warm places. So Mother Earth has beautiful plants that have adapted to each different growing condition on her planet. Seeds can settle anywhere they find water, sun, and air. You notice they didn't say soil. We often grow things in soil, but not always. And then grow roots and stems and leaves. Some plants just grow in water. Some plants just use the air around them to grow. These grow where it's very dry. We call that kind of ecosystem a desert. And the plants have adapted special ways to grow where it's very, very dry. Up in our basket, hanging over the side, we see a succulent that stores water in its leaves. It can go for long periods of time without being watered. It stores it. And that makes it very successful growing in a desert ecosystem. Look at all these beautiful flowers growing on these cacti. Cacti are covered with little thorns or spines that actually collect water from the air and also protect the plant from being eaten by animal predators. They have very important purpose. Underneath the ground, there's big, shallow root systems that will absorb any water that comes, even if it's only once a year, and then they store the water in their fleshy bodies. These may not look like flowers, but they are the most important yet. Rice and barley and corn and wheat are cereal grains we need to eat. Millet and bamboo are a treat for animals who don't like meat. They're called herbivores. So some animals depend on those grains and grasses like we grow in our prairie as a main source of food to help them to live on Mother Earth. Some people only eat plants too. We call them vegetarians, but they're herbivores too. And here we see some of the largest animals on Earth are herbivores. And they plant a lot of seeds as they go through their lives. Would you believe these plants eat meat? And they are called carnivores. Carnivores are plants or animals that only eat meat. These plants have adapted special ways to digest animals that come. Here we see this tube, and it has a special liquid in it that dissolves bugs that fall in, and that's what they eat for their food. So there's some of the most interesting plants. Venus flytraps, pitcher plants, so amazing to think about. The largest flower ever found grows in the jungle near the ground, a parasite clinging tight to the roots of trees that feed it. It's 3 feet wide, or maybe 4, weighs 15 pounds and sometimes more, and has a nasty odor. Rafflesia is its name. They also call this plant the corpse flower because it gives off a smell like a rotting dead animal, and that is to attract its animal helper that will come and pollinate this flower to produce those precious seeds. So as we've been learning, every plant has a special way of getting its pollen to other plants to pollinate those flowers. Sometimes it's the wind, but oftentimes it's a special animal helper, like a bird or maybe a monkey or a butterfly, but each one has that special partnership in order to produce those precious seeds. But here's a flower that owes its fame to smelling very sweet, and scientists agree that magnolias seem to be a prehistoric family. We have magnolia trees growing here in town, and isn't it neat to think that they're one of the oldest flowers that we still grow today? They're just beautiful. All flowers are angiosperm. That's an ancient Grecian term. Here are just a few products made from them for you. So we see all kinds of things that are flowers that are used in new ways. I call them gifts of Mother Earth. Mother Earth provides us with everything we need to live on her beautiful planet. So here we see paper that was made from wood pulp from trees. We see wood that made this broom handle. We see these straw that's used to make a broom. We see coffee beans. What a delicious kind of bean that we can enjoy. I like cacao beans too, which make chocolate, which are used to make chocolate. We're going to read a book one day about that too. No monkeys, no chocolate. So monkeys are one of the special helpers that help to create chocolate. We see popcorn, pasta, which is made from durum wheat. We see perfumes, which are made from the flowers of so many fragrant plants. We see cork, which comes from trees. Many medicines that help our body heal came from plants. We see rope and rubber. We see bread and so many foods that are made from grains. We see this beautiful flower here is called foxglove or digitalis, also called fairy lanterns because the fairies love these special flowers. But this is actually a poisonous plant, but they use that plant to make a special medicine to help people that have a heart problem. So some things that are poisonous just to eat can be used to make other things that aren't poisonous. And here we see other flowers. Look at candy. That was made from sugar, which is a plant that we grow too. Cotton, which is grown from a cotton plant. The more you look around your house and your life, you're going to see how many amazing gifts that Mother Earth provides. Plants that have no flowers are fascinating too. We see this mushroom here, which is part of the kingdom of fungi. And we'll learn about that in another story. Fascinating world. They're one of our decomposer pals in the woodland forest floor and around in our big backyards too. Really interesting plants. And here we see this one has become a plum. Yum. So the reason for a flower is to manufacture seeds. Thanks to the help of the birds and the butterflies and the bees.